What's up, crypto fam? It's Phantom. We're taking a look at the market again today, the price action that we're getting for the day today, I think we can expect over the next few days, and just some headlines that I found interesting in my research today. So we'll start like we always do with the fear and greed index. We've cranked up some. We were at 22 in extreme fear yesterday, and we've just moved into regular fear territory. Fear is, like I've mentioned before, fear is a good thing in the market. Usually you want to, Warren Buffett made the quote famous, when others are fearful, he is greedy, and when others are greedy, he's fearful. So fear in the markets, it's not an ugly thing to look at. Not to me, at least. That said, we'll look at the Bitcoin price action. We popped up today and hit the resistance that I've drawn out, that I've been showing over the past few days. We definitely rejected from it, which, if you watched the stream yesterday, I expected for the resistance channels to be a little bit difficult for us to poke through. I didn't know if we would explode through it, especially on the first whack at it. So, yeah, that said, we did make some progress into it. Obviously, it rejected us back down. But we got some bullish news today from the Biden executive orders that went through. And there's just overall good sentiments happening right now for the crypto space. And Bitcoin, obviously reacted very well to that strong news. So some people are thinking that these might be the catalysts that are needed for the bull market to start. I don't have all my chips down on that. I think Bitcoin can still move sideways for a period of time, just because everybody wants it to make a move now. So that said, that opinion can quickly change based off of the news that comes out. I think the news is going to be a large driver of the direction that we take over the course of the next month or so. That said, Bitcoin's looking good. I'm very happy with it in the 41K region. I'm very happy with it taking its time and consolidating for us to build strong support structures in this zone. These are all good things. So what I'm happiest about is the trend line did its job. We're starting our upward momentum, and I'm hoping that continues over the next few days, which I think will be telling. We may be another week out before we really start any type of move up, but that doesn't mean that we can't get a catalyst tomorrow that shoots us through this first resistance to start testing higher resistance levels. Always take it with a grain of salt, though. Until we can clear some of these resistances consecutively, you always want to be a little bit cautious of what Bitcoin does, because it can rip down just as fast, if not faster, than it made the move up. So, and I'm not seeing enough negativity that I normally see on Twitter when we are at the beginning of a bull run. A lot of people are jumping on the bull wagon because we had a 10% green day for a day. There's a lot of flip-flop that happens in the market. People just more or less giving opinions to get follows rather than giving opinions for helpful advice. So the way that it looks for me is that Bitcoin's doing well, bounced off the trend line that we've been watching for a couple weeks now. It hit our what was resistance, turned support, turned resistance again, and rejected back down. Those are all completely normal things. What we want it to do now is to take another whack at the rejection level or the resistance levels to see if we can push through it. So we'll take a look at the news articles that I have for the day. I have some pretty interesting ones that I've come across. I was gonna sneeze. Okay, so the Bitcoin price surges on Biden's crypto executive order. This was obviously much better than the article that I found yesterday was referencing. They thought that the article yesterday read that there may be a lot of information about why it's risky, why it can be used for used for crime, used for just nothing positive. Just or I don't want to say nothing positive. A lot more negative than positive. But it came out, and the executive order actually was. I was impressed. It reads to me as though the United States wants to take seriously cryptocurrencies, possibly creating a digital dollar, and I think it's because they see that other countries are adopting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and I believe that they don't want to get left behind, and they hopefully will want to be a leader in the space. And the path to do that is obviously through regulation in the United States. So I'll just read a little bit of it here. The order titled Ensuring Responsible Development of Digital Assets directed agencies across the federal government to produce reports on digital currencies and consider new regulations. It outlined the risks cryptocurrencies pose to the economy, national security, and climate, while also noting their possible benefits. This is the key part. I knew the negative stuff would come. I was just hopeful that we'd get some positive spin on it too. It also asked the agencies to review the possibility of issuing a digital version of the dollar, tasking the Justice Department with assessing whether it would require new legislation and possibly preparing such legislation. Some central banks around the world have experimented with the concept to keep pace with the private sector payment innovation. So, and obviously Bitcoin shot up to almost $42,000 when that news did come out. I was very happy to see that they're noting the possible benefits and they're wanting to move towards a digital dollar. I think the digital dollar is the most telling sign that they want to start moving away from the archaic banking system. The banking system is still, a lot of the transactions that happen or that occur on it, and a lot of the processes and pipelines that are in place have been in place for decades. It's time to move on. It's time to go with innovative technologies, safer technologies. You can scan your a check and have it deposited in your bank account and things like that, but don't be fooled. The banks are keeping an image of that and printing them off. They still are doing things in an old fashion. They just have to continue moving forward because cryptocurrency is right on their heels. It's like we're in a race and we're nipping right at them, and they won't let us pass, but given enough time they'll get bored, frustrated, and do something stupid, and it's going to be our time. So I thought it was a positive thing overall today. I wish they wouldn't slam cryptocurrency so much for all the negativity, because a lot of the negativity can just move to a different direction. They can move to art pieces, to the dark web, selling things on that front. So where there's a will, there's a way. Bitcoin just allows obviously seamless and quick transactions and anonymity, which is part of its appeal, right? The banks want the banks to create a digital dollar, not because they want improved transaction speed. They want the banks to create a digital dollar because the government has views into everything the banks do. So if they need anything, they just tap them on the shoulder and request it, and it's done. Not good for the average everyday citizen, especially in a country where we're created on the basis of freedom, but our freedoms a lot of times are foregone for quote unquote security and protection. So I will be excited to see what type of education they come up with, what kind of findings they have. I'm excited to see their next steps. So I thought that was a pretty interesting article. I let you all know on yesterday's stream that I'll be looking this up again. I did let everybody know last week on the stream. eBay's hinting at a cryptocurrency embrace. I did get the time. They're going to be announcing the innovations, which is where people think that this is going to be coupled. They're going to be announcing those around 11 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern. So 8 a.m. Pacific time. This reads that Bitcoin spent ample time in the spotlight last week with Russia, as Russia escalated its invasion of Ukraine. However, there's some other news relevant to Bitcoin in the crypto universe at large that investors might want to consider. There's growing speculation that eBay could soon announce that it will accept Bitcoin and other digital coins as form of payment. There's ongoing speculation that eBay could announce an initiative to accept Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies as a form of payment, and that comes directly from the CEO of eBay. He recently said in an interview with TheStreet.com that eBay is studying the possibility of accepting cryptocurrencies. The rumors are intensifying ahead of eBay's Analyst Day on Thursday, March 10th, tomorrow. Should the e-commerce marketplace embrace Bitcoin and other major cryptos, the decision could have implications for exchange-traded funds, including the Valkyrie balance sheet opportunities, or ETF. So, yeah, obviously if eBay starts taking Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, that's a big deal, right? That's a big step forward for us as a community. And it also puts pressure on other web pages and auction and purchase sites that want to appeal to younger generations. So I'm very, very excited. I think this would be a very bullish thing if this comes out. I'm hoping that it's not priced into all of the hype that went on today and this becomes a sell the news type of event tomorrow. But I'll for sure be watching, at around 11 o'clock. I'll be taking my lunch, taking a break from coding, and for sure be watching to see what eBay is announcing tomorrow. So I'll cover it on stream. The last news article that I found interesting is, I think this is on the backs of the United States wanting to create a digital dollar and look into the pros and cons of cryptocurrency. Crypto regulatory signs are also pointing upward in India and South Korea. So a lot of Asia, as well as the US and Dubai, are looking into cryptocurrencies. So it's starting to become more of a common ask. It's, if they're putting time into education, I think they realize that they can't knock it off the rails as easily anymore, and they need to educate themselves on the pros and cons so that they can come out with regulation before it gets even further out of their hands than it already is. South Korea, in a close election, South Korea picked the Conservative People Power Party candidate in an effort to connect with younger tech-savvy voters. Both who was selected and his opponent promised to promote crypto-friendly policies during their campaigns. So this is a big deal. They're aiming their election talks now towards how they're going to view crypto. When we have the debates, a lot of times that what comes up is foreign policy and oil prices and pipelines and things like that. But I think a big talking point in the upcoming elections is going to be pro or con cryptocurrency. And I think that's why a lot of politicians are really trying to educate themselves on the space. So you may see, people coming out strongly opposed to it and people coming out strongly for it. I think the United States doesn't really have too many commonalities between the party lines, so I think one party is going to come out and greatly accept it, and one party is going to come out strongly and reject it. We'll see. I think it's in their favor of both parties to at least educate themselves on a lot of the benefits of it as well as the risks. The risks are important to note. But if they want to connect to younger people, I think they need to be pro cryptocurrency. That means that they'll lose the older generation votes, and it depends on how important that is to that particular party. In India, the finance minister said that she expects the nation's central bank to launch a central bank digital currency, or digital rupee, this year. So that's more momentum. People are starting to see the benefits of digital assets. Dubai moving in the same direction. So it's a lot of positive news of what's to come for the cryptocurrency space. And like I mentioned on previous streams, we're at the infancy of it now. We're still very young into the space, but I think all of these countries moving forward with at least digital dollars, digital rupees, digital forms of their own currency, is them no longer being able to deny some of the benefits of cryptocurrency. So I think they're trying to get ahead of it, but I think they're late to the game. Even though we're at our infancy, I think Bitcoin's established pretty strong roots and foundation and has a larger community than they expect. So I think this is bullish, though. We want to know. We want our governments to know, right? We want them to educate themselves on the pros and cons of the crypto space. And even if they try to push against, I think it only strengthens the Bitcoin community, because Bitcoin is decentralized, and that's something people are fighting for at this point. That's something people desperately want in their lives, and Bitcoin provides that. That said, it's just a reminder to all the fam out there to get your currencies, your cryptocurrencies, off of exchanges. They still work for the evil empires. Coinbase had to freeze accounts due to government request. Binance US had to freeze accounts to government requests. Binance had to stop MasterCard and Visa payments due to government requests. So these companies that have, educated a lot of the public on Bitcoin and the benefits of it being decentralized and an act of freedom are now doing exactly what they're requested from the government, because the government will shut them down. So they're just a cog in the machine at this point. So we just need to use them for what they're there for. And that's our on-ramp to cryptocurrencies. Once we have them, I have all of mine on different hardware wallets. I stake most of my cryptocurrencies if they're available to be staked. If they're not, they sit on the ledger in my closet. My secret code is hidden. So yeah, you want to get all of your funds off of exchanges immediately. And that's something that I'm going to continue to remind people, because I think it's really easy to purchase something and just leave it on the exchange. It's also easy to leave it on exchanges like Binance, because they automatically do the staking for you and automatically make the deposits of the gains that you've made through the staking. That said, it's worth getting it off of these exchanges, finding out how to stake them and the different ways that coins can be staked. For example, I have Cardano. I got the Daedalus wallet. I've connected myself to a staking pool. I've earned quite a bit of Cardano over the past, it's been less than a year that they've allowed staking, but the day that they allowed staking, I started staking. I have my the one tokens that I purchased. I've turned half of them into jewels, provided a liquidity pool into DeFi Kingdom. I'm staking that way. Neo has their own wallet. I have that staked, earning interest on those. So, yeah, you want to get your funds off of the exchanges as soon as possible. I think we're moving in a bullish direction. We rejected off the resistance, which is not a bad thing. I've been calling for that and expected that to happen. I'll be watching the news closely. I'm hoping we don't make a break below 40,000 again, because I think if we break below 40,000, we'll be testing the trend line again. And you can only test the trend line so many times before it doesn't hold up. So I am carefully optimistic at this point, I think is the fairest thing to say. So I'll be watching the news tomorrow. I'm excited for the eBAY release. I'm excited to see, or the eBAY talks. I'm excited to see what they come out with. I'm hoping it's some news that they're going to be start accepting cryptocurrencies, but it's too early to tell. So until then, have a great rest of your Wednesday night. I hope the news and analysis is helpful. Consider giving a follow if you find this information beneficial. And I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. Hopefully it's a bullish day for us, and tomorrow we can talk about all the successes of the market and how eBay is going to take cryptocurrencies. Fingers crossed. But until then, I'll catch you all tomorrow's stream. Later. Peace.